ready.
Okay.
I'll just wait a couple of seconds to allow some people to come in.
Oh, I'm not sharing the right screen here. Now I am. Oh dear.
Take a minute if you need. We'll just wait a couple more seconds to allow some more people to join us tonight.
Just checking. Am I screen sharing?
You are. We're seeing a PowerPoint, not the Google slide. I don't know if that matters, Maddie. It's up to you.
I am trying to share the Google Slides. Let's see. Okay, how's that look?
I think that's right. And then just click on slideshow.
Oh, okay. Great.
Great.
I think we have.
I think we're ready to go. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Abigail McEwen. I serve as Carillon Community's faculty director. I'm very pleased to kind of welcome you to this evening's webinar with Professor Madeline Simon for students invited to the Design and Practice community. I will just note that we are recording this webinar. And the webinar will be posted to the Carillon Community's website later this week. And I guess with no further ado, I'll hand it over to Professor Simon to introduce Design and Practice.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. McEwen. So this evening, I'm going to do a brief introduction. And after I've told you a few things about the Design and Practice community, I will introduce a great student who will tell you about the student perspective, and then we'll have time for questions and answers. So I look forward very much to your questions. So I'm Professor Madeline Simon. My pronouns are she and her. I have design thinking as my primary research focus, and that really infuses everything I do in the research arena. I look at human response to designed environments, combining neuroscience with architecture. And I also work on urban design in Iraq with colleagues and students over there. A little bit about me. I'm a professor in architecture and also in the program in neuroscience and cognitive science. If I describe myself in a few words, I would say I'm an architect, a designer, educator, a traveler, a dancer, and an athlete. I include dancer and athlete because it's very important to me that I think and work with my whole body. And you will see that come out in the Design and Practice course. I teach with Carillon because I enjoy working with fearless students who choose this new experience. Design and Practice teaches design thinking for innovation and entrepreneurship. By the end of the semester, you'll be able to identify design challenges and apply design thinking to create solutions. And I firmly believe that design thinking is a superpower that enables its practitioners to envision the future. While most students in this community will probably not choose a career in the design professions, I hope that this experience will help you to apply design thinking to become a change agent in your own lives and careers. So the big question for the I-Series course is, how do architects and designers create products, environments, and experiences for people? So the course has 4 big objectives. First, identify real-world design challenges. So how could you change the world? Next, apply design thinking processes to meet those challenges. Very important, collaborate effectively in diverse, multidisciplinary teams. And finally, communicate in ways authentic to the design disciplines. And that includes visual communication, as well as written and oral methods. So what are the benefits of this course? Well, you'll learn design thinking. It's a new process for operating on information. You will understand the designed environment. So you'll look around you and you'll have a much better understanding of how things came to be the way they are. And you will gain career skills. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. So what can you expect from the course? Well, it's going to be hands-on, active learning, very active. You will experience teamwork, collaboration, and build friendships. You're going to hear diverse voices. You'll experience multiple points of view and no right answers. And you will, I hope, develop a creative mindset, a bias towards action. You will learn from failure, and we will feel positive energy. So what does a typical class look like? You will arrive in class, you'll be prepared with readings, there may be TED Talks, there may be some assigned work. You'll cluster around your table with your team. I'll give a brief talk introducing the topic and the plan for the day. And then you'll spend about an hour in teamwork with coaching from me and the teaching assistants who will circulate around the room. We'll come together at the end. I'll announce the next steps, the assignment, the plan for the next class, and there'll be Q&A. So if there's anything that wasn't clear, hopefully we'll clear it up before you leave for the day. Back to the opportunities for professional development, you'll gain teamwork skills, which I think are going to be applicable to just about any work that you're doing after graduation. Problem-solving techniques. You're going to learn the design thinking process to help you to innovate and perhaps become an entrepreneur, create your own business. And you'll learn visual and verbal communication skills. The course has opportunities for academic growth. You're going to learn in new and different ways. Develop a creative mindset. You'll learn a new way to process information. You'll learn to generate multiple ideas. I think that's very important. There's not just one way of looking at things, not just one way to solve problems. And then you'll learn to apply critical thinking to evaluate those ideas. So what are you actually going to be doing? Well, two major projects. You're going to design products for people, and that's probably going to be the design of a chair. And you'll also be designing environments for people, and that will be a campus place. So you're going to start kind of small with something the size of a chair for a person, and then you'll move up in scale and design an environment for multiple people. Teamwork and creative problem solving is such a big part of the course. Most careers involve working with people and for people that are unlike ourselves. And so we're going to teach skills for getting to know people. And we'll be working in diverse teams. And I think that you'll find a number of benefits. You'll get to know people who are unlike yourself. You'll be able to build friendships with new people. You'll find that diverse teams have multiple points of views because everyone's coming from somewhere different. And that really influences their approach to the problems. Diverse teams generate more ideas. So the course is going to teach skills for collaborating with people and working across differences and designing for others. Well, speaking of other people, I'm so pleased to introduce my great former student, Olivia Kendall, who's going to continue and tell you a little bit more about design and practice from the student point of view. Olivia.
Hello, my name is Olivia. I am a junior here at the University of Maryland studying studio art with a graphic design concentration and art history minor. I was in Carillon my freshman year in the art and activism community. And my sophomore year, I was a peer mentor for IDEA 101, the second class that you all will be taking next year, as well as taking Professor Simon's design and practice course. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this course, but also about Carillon in general, my experience with Carillon in general. So I really benefited from the hands-on learning experience from Carillon and in this course in particular, especially your freshman year when you're in classes that have a lot of students in them. Having a class that is a tight-knit community is really a breath of fresh air. Like I always looked forward coming to these classes because I knew my professors really well, and the students that were in class were my friends, and I was able to build relationships. And the skills that I learned, I mean, I had fun in class, but it was also very beneficial, and I learned a lot of skills that I apply to in my educational career as a junior still. But I also see myself applying to a professional environment. One of the most memorable moments of Carillon was being able to find a major that I was truly passionate about, and being supported in that decision, and also meeting my best friends. I met my roommates from last year, this year, and my roommates that I'll be living with next year in Carillon. I'm still friends with people that I took Professor Simon's class with. So being in Carillon is truly a great experience, especially when coming to a new school, a large school. Not to be cliche, but it does make this large school environment feel a lot smaller. Professor Simon did talk a lot about diversity in teams, but I just wanted to drive home how beneficial that is, and being able to learn through experience rather than like lecture was definitely one of the things that set this class aside from my others. And also learning to think limitlessly when in regards to design, but also in regards to my future and my plans. So overall in Carillon, I was empowered to explore and pursue my passions as a student, but also in my personal life. And Carillon assisted me in my transition into college, not only by building a community around me, but through the professors and mentors that I met. And it prepared me for the rest of my academic career here in college, but also gave me skills that I will definitely use in my professional career.
Thanks, Olivia. Let's move on to the question and answer part of the evening. I would love to hear from all of you. And I have to say that I can't see the bar with questions. So I'm going to rely on Dr. McEwen to recognize anyone who raises a hand or types in a question.
So I'm happy to moderate this evening, Professor Simon. No questions as yet, but I wonder if you and Olivia might talk about the design for kind of community space, maybe that Olivia did in your class, or if you could say a bit more about the kinds of projects that design and practice students might be looking at after the chair.
Oh, sure. Well, maybe I could say a few words about the chair too. So the chair is, well, we do spend some time learning a good bit about chairs, but once we launch into the project, you begin to learn by actually building chairs. You build multiple versions, we call iterations of the chair, and you build it out of cardboard. No nails, no glue, no tape, no fasteners, just cardboard. And you're designing for a particular client, and the chair has to actually support their weight. So one of the exciting experiences in the class is when some of those early versions fail dramatically. And when a chair comes crashing to the ground, we all stop what we're doing, clap, cheer, and then we ask the team that designed the chair, all right, what did you learn from this failure? And then their analysis of that failure then spurs them on to build the next iteration. And so by the end of the chair project, every team has a cardboard chair that's really quite uniquely designed and very effective at doing its job. Let's see, the next project. Olivia, do you want to talk about that, or should I get us started?
Yeah, I can give a little overview. So although the cardboard chair project is very memorable to me, very fun experience, we also did a project designing a space for Carillon students on campus. So my team decided to make a study space that Carillon students could come and meet up with each other and like have a dedicated space on campus. And it was a very cool experience because after we worked with our teams and went through our design process, we had members of the Carillon communities, including Dr. McEwen, come in and we were able to present to them. So not only did we build on our design skills by practicing those things, it was very beneficial and a great experience to be able to present our work to the people that we were designing for.
Yeah, maybe I should jump in with something. I said earlier that I love teaching Carillon students because you are fearless. And I believe that you're fearless because you choose to take on this new experience. You choose to spend your freshman year delving into an idea, a theme. But I think that it's important that you are fearless, because when you're designing, it's not a private endeavor at all. You can't hide your mistakes. You can't hide your failures. You can't hide your ideas. You have to really bravely and proudly put them out there. And you get lots of feedback all the way along the process. You get feedback from your teammates, from the teaching assistants, from me, and from all the guests who come in for the presentations. And I think that that's another tremendous career skill that you're gaining, is that self-confidence to get your ideas out there and to get them out there so that you and your team can work on them, so that, so that you can get feedback, so that you can improve your ideas. And we really believe in the entrepreneurial idea that you want to fail fast and fail often, because that's how you can really keep testing your ideas until you get one that's going to be a tremendous success. So I would say that, courage is part of the course. And I think that we all support one another. It's a very different atmosphere from a typical lecture course. I think that, everyone becomes very invested in your work, and your work becomes a team endeavor, so that you have the support of your team, you have the support of the faculty, and it's the kind of environment in which I think it's safe to be brave.
So we have another question in the chat. I'm just going to go ahead and read it aloud. I can answer it, but Dr. McEwen, you probably have the best knowledge on this. Someone asked, how do design and practice courses fit into our major's course requirements? Do the courses count into general education requirements? Dr. McEwen, did you want to answer that, or did you want me to?
Well, I guess, Olivia, why don't you go ahead, and also Dr. Simon, or Professor Simon, if you'd like to also as well.
So the courses that you take in Carillon, this course is considered an I-Series course, which is a general education requirement. Every student has to take 2 I-Series courses to graduate, so that will count for that. And then IDEA 101 is a 1-credit course, and I'm not exactly sure of what requirements it fits off the top of my head, but you will get the credits from that course as well. And they will fit into general education requirements.
Am I right, Professor Simon, that design and practice also satisfies a scholarship and practice general education requirement?
Yes, that's right. It does. Scholarship and practice courses are courses that essentially parachute you into one of the academic disciplines on campus. You don't have to take an Architecture 101 course to learn about architecture. You just jump right in and start making architecture and designing things. The course is also a third thing, which is a Fearless Ideas course. And that's a designation from the Academy for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. And the Academy is an organization on campus, and it has its own wonderful space called the Loft. And that's where we're going to be meeting in the fall. It's a great big open space with big windows. The furniture is all on wheels. So every day when you come into class, it might look a little bit different. You'll have stools and chairs and sofas and whiteboards and tables and markers and lots of Post-it notes and all the sort of fun supplies for making things that we could possibly imagine. Okay, I do actually now see the questions. I see another one. This is more about Carillon as a whole, but can someone in Carillon dorm with someone in the Scholars Program? That's a Dr. McEwen question.
Oh, well, sure. Ella, thanks for your question. So on the one hand, I'll say we do encourage Carillon students to live with other Carillon students. That said, we do allow non-program roommates. Carillon students who choose a non-program roommate will be placed into Hagerstown Hall. It's also possible, depending on the scholars community in which, say, your friend has been placed, that you would live with your friend in the scholars housing. So that's kind of an open question. But yes, this is generally allowed across living learning programs. I'll say the advantage of living, within the Carillon spaces is that as Olivia kind of mentioned, is that you get to know students kind of that you're taking classes with. It's really easy to walk down the hall, to kind of meet up in a lounge. You're in classes with people who are in your own dorm and having shared experiences like our welcome event, some of our extracurricular activities. So there are lots of good reasons to live with Carillon, but some students, for a variety of reasons, don't live in the Carillon dorms, and we do have always some commuter students as well.
I think of living in the Carillon dorms as almost having built-in friends upon arrival. Even your first day there, or even after your first day of classes, you're going to see people that you recognize and say, hey, like, let's go to the dining hall together so we don't have to go alone. And that's really how I built relationships with my friends. And I can see my friendships with the people I met in Carillon lasting much longer than just during college.
I think we might have time for one more question, and maybe for both Professor Simon and Olivia. You've talked about the advantages of learning in the Academy's loft and of kind of the interesting synergy between IDEA 101 and design and practice. I wonder if you might just expand a bit, maybe especially Olivia, because you've been a peer mentor for IDEA 101 as well. Where are those connections between these classes and Carillon in your experience?
Yeah, of course. So in IDEA 101 and in design and practice, they're both centered on design thinking. In IDEA 101, you are taught the design thinking process and then taught how to apply it to your own life, your own path. So I spoke a little bit about this before, but I came in as a different major, something that I wasn't happy with, but I thought that I was supposed to be doing. And through like the encouragement of my peers and my professors in IDEA 101, and to think limitlessly about my future on what I really would enjoy doing, I was able to find the major that I'm in now, which I love and I'm so happy in. So that class is it's design thinking based, but it's design thinking in regards to your own life. And I think of design and practice is more focused on like the design work itself and building skills that you will use professionally and in your educational career. So learning how to work well with others and learning the benefit of working with people who see things differently than you do, which can be hard in teams, but learning those skills are something that is crucial to, I think, success in any major, design related or not.
Yeah. Maybe at this moment, I would just jump in and say that one of the great joys for me is having students from such a wide range of majors and interests. And I'm always happy when a student asks me to write a med school recommendation, because I just love it when students recognize that teamwork is going to be a very important part of what they're doing in medicine. And my other recent joy is one of my design and practice students has just released her first shoe design for Nike. So you will see me in class wearing some very cool sneakers designed by my student. It looks like 1 minute to go. Is there a very quick question?
And if not, if you wouldn't mind, Professor Simon, moving the slide just with some last minute reminders for attending students.
Right.
But certainly, if there are questions, please put them in the Q&A. Just have a couple of reminders. These dates are probably very familiar to you. But if you haven't already attended an open house, we would love to meet you this Friday, March 31st, also on an upcoming Monday, April 10th. And we have a final virtual open house on April 21st. It's a great chance to visit campus, to meet Carillon staff. We'll have other Carillon students kind of there to talk about their experiences. It's a great time just to meet other invited students on campus. And of course, the big deadline is May 1st, both to confirm enrollment at UMD and also to submit the housing and dining agreement to ensure that you have a place to live on campus. And then finally, please don't hesitate to reach out to Carillon staff with any questions. You can reach us at our email address, carillon@umd.edu. You can call us, and please follow us on social media. We have lots of interesting projects in the works. Carillon students are participating in a t-shirt design contest right now to celebrate Carillon's 10-year anniversary next year. So we have our own students designing a t-shirt for next year that you will wear, that you will receive when you come to campus. We're also looking forward to taking our students to a Nationals baseball game next month. So lots of fun stuff on our social media. And I think that wraps up our webinar tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. And of course, thanks to Professor Simon and to Olivia for joining us and for talking about design and practice.
Oh, thank you. And I look forward to seeing you all in the fall. And I'm so happy to answer your questions in the meantime. Bye.